Everyone. Happy October. Thank you for joining us this evening for our HIV is Not a Crime community conversations. Get these slides together. Okay. Unfortunately, our translator is not available tonight, so we will look to record translation or offer translation for the recording after our call is done. And we'll provide that link if able. For housekeeping, please use the chat box and try to flag us if you have any problems accessing the chat box. We are recording for anybody who may need to leave early or for those that are not able to join, and we'll make that recording link available after the call as well. And if you don't wish to be a part of the recording, please keep your camera off, and you can also change your name for it to not show in the recording. So our agenda for our community conversations is always pretty straightforward. We'll do welcome and introductions. Our mentorship opportunity tonight will be brought to you by myself, where I will be talking about HIV is Not a Crime Awareness Day, and then we'll go into state updates. For our introduction, let's see, move that. If folks could share their name, their pronouns, what state you're joining us from, and describe yourself in one word. I'll model and then I'll popcorn to someone else. And if you wish to pass, just say pass. Kamaria, she, her pronouns. Florida, one word is present. And I will pass to Eric.
Hi, Eric Fleiter here, he, him pronouns, Indiana, and I would describe myself as fantabulous, and I will pass it on to Alicia.
Hello, everyone. I was typing in the chat, but Alicia Diggs here in North Carolina.
Oh no, did we lose Alicia?
No, I'm here.
Oh, we didn't catch your one word. We heard North Carolina and then you went back on mute.
And the one word is ready.
Ready, I love that. And who will you pass it to?
I will pass it to, let me see if I can see people. How about Ariana Ray?
I knew you were going to do that, Alicia. My name is, even though I typed it in the chat, my name is Ariana Ray. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm calling from Raleigh, North Carolina, and my one word is resilient. And let's see, I'm going to pass it to Cedric.
Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon if you're on the West Coast. My name is Cedric Pulliam. Pronouns are he, him. I'm calling from the state of Georgia, but VA is always in my heart, near and dear. And my one word is fierce. And I'm going to pass it over to my partner in change, Deidre Johnson.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. It is Deidre Johnson, pronouns she, her, and barbecue, beautiful Black queen. I am zooming in from the wonderful state, the state of lovers, Virginia. And the one word that describes myself is fun. And I'm gonna pass it over to Jeremy.
I'm Jeremy Merthew from Michigan, and he, him, his pronouns, and I would say I'm unpredictable. And I will pass it on to, did Eric go?
We have Kevin, Cindy, Tammy.
I'll pass it on to Tammy.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Tammy Hart, she, they from Iowa. I'm Sarah, Project Managing Director, and chaos is all I can think of today, is how I feel. So I am going to pass it to Kevin.
Hi, everyone. Kevin Lish in Pocatello, Idaho. He, him, his pronouns. And my one word is determined, and I will pass to Cindy.
Thank you. Cindy, she, her, hers, Pennsylvania, and the one word is atone. And I am going to pass it on to Wanda.
Hi, this is Wanda from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She, her, hers, and I think never give up. And let me see who's on here.
I think that's everyone.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, thank you, Wanda. Thank you, everyone. I love these words y'all came up with. Well, I resonate with Tammy's more, but it has been a little chaotic, but I love everyone else's words. So thank y'all for introducing yourselves and sharing where you are in this moment today. Whoops, before we get into state updates, it's my turn. So let me switch slides. Okay. I really appreciate y'all's patience while I navigate two different slide decks. Thankfully, I have them in one tab, so they're all together. And yeah, all right. So we are still in 2022, but not so long ago, the HIV is not a crime awareness day was born. So just for transparency, I want to like kind of give folks some behind the scenes to this. When Tammy said the word chaos, I kind of thought about around this time last year, things were turning in my head of like, I wonder how an awareness day would look like what would it look like for the community? And then like, I think it was December, I sent a draft of a proposal to Tammy and asked, did she think it was a good idea? And she was like, yeah. And then I was like, well, guess what day I was thinking? And she asked me which day, and I was like, February. So somewhere in February. So that gave us 2 months to try to figure out how we were going to partner with some other stakeholders in the community and what was that going to look like. So I'm kind of going to walk you all through the lovely maze of my brain, which is a form of like, I don't know, clarity, hopefully, for why this awareness day is significant to the work that we do in decriminalizing HIV. So anybody who knows me knows that if I'm on a call with you or if I'm in a space of strategizing and thinking through things, I'm going to ask questions. So to start this awareness day, I asked myself like the typical who, what, when, where, how, why, to kind of help me process what the significance of this day would look like. And then through some insecurities and then also like inspiration of seeing a lot of you on this call and a lot of folks throughout the nation doing this work, I realized that we had all the answers that we needed to make this day important. We know that marginalized communities are impacted by most of the current laws. We know that they work against our public health. We know there's no study that proves that these laws contribute to any type of reduction in HIV transmission, and so on and so forth. I won't read every single bullet point to you all because I really want to save some time for us to kind of talk through some things. And so when I thought through all of this, the day is what stood out the most to me. February 28th, while it's the end of the shortest month of the year, it also, to me, is a connector between the representation of two communities that are widely impacted by criminalization laws. So the month of February is Black History Month. Also, February 7th is National Black HIV Awareness Day. And then March is National Women's History Month, and Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day is March 10th. So putting the HIV is Not a Crime Awareness Day right between those two made so much sense. And it just so happened that our counterpart in our HIV is Not a Crime campaign, the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, their namesake, Elizabeth Taylor's birthday, happens to be around that same time as well. So it just made sense, and it was just a perfect fit for us to partner and create this awareness day. So in almost 6 weeks, we pulled this together, and we kicked off with the support of the Health Not Prisons Collective, other federal partners, and community members. But I want to talk today about how we can look at increasing the solutions that we're already enacting, and how we can identify more opportunities to amplify and impact what's happened in light of our success. So some of those solutions, as you all know, mobilizing from state to state, forming coalitions and networks and alliances. And I would take the time, if we had the time on this call, to really uplift each and every one of you that have been a part of that work, whether you're part of a coalition or not. I see you, and I just want to say thank you for what you've done. Also, and holding our federal government accountable, because if you know the history of these laws, you know that these laws were enacted as a response to needing funding within different states for research and treatment for the beginning of the HIV epidemic. Also, some of our solutions have been building partnerships with stakeholders that influence our policymaking, not just legislators. It's really key to also focus on other stakeholders in your community. Another solution is supporting and uplifting one another by having spaces like this, funding and equipping those that are impacted by the problem, by these laws, to be a part of the solution. And a lot of our organizations are doing that through, for example, the Sarah Project, Justice Institute, Health Not Prisons Collective funds advocates that are leading these coalitions and networks, and so forth. And also remaining consistent in the face of adversity. When things are looking really hard in our national political landscape, or you have a freaking pandemic, put everything on pause, seeing different states still push through and mobilize and change laws in spite of all of that, holding their consistency, like Virginia, Georgia, Nevada, Missouri. Hats off to you all for not letting the pandemic stop you, because I personally wanted to pull a blanket over my head and just tap out for a while. And ultimately, all of that leads to us strengthening, engaging, reforming, and overcoming. Oops, next slide. So the opportunities, again, as most of you know, for the continued amplification of the Awareness Day, HIV is Not a Crime Training Academy will be hosted in Virginia this year. President Biden has put the importance of decriminalization in his World AIDS Day speech last year, which is actually what sparked me to be like, now is the time. Advocates have gathered to be able to craft the first ever policy agenda written by people living with HIV called Demanding Better, to hold our federal government accountable. And from that, we have built really strong alliances and partnerships with our federal partners, and it's ongoing for many other reasons besides criminalization. And then also from that, we've been able to launch the Ready, Set, Repeal Day of Action, which took place September 22nd. And we had 11 days of action of getting folks to sign on, or getting folks to talk to their legislators, asking them to co-sponsor the Repeal Act, or HR 6111. And another opportunity, of course, is that we can't do any of this without mobilizing with advocates like you. So I really want to spend our time talking about the impact of our Awareness Day from this year, just what we were able to accomplish in a really short amount of time, and knowing that we have a little more larger window of time, what can we do next? So keep in mind that this impact highlight is from is solely from the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation analysis. I have not been able to get the time to go through all of our social media algorithms and things of that nature to figure out what our reach was. But in social media, we had an organic engagement of 6,000 users on the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation platform, which they have a total reach of 4.3 million folks. They also have celebrity ambassadors, such as Sheryl Lee Ralph and Paris Jackson. And we also were able to see their first ever public service announcement for HIV is Not a Crime Awareness Day, which had almost 150,000 views. Speaking of views, unplanned, unknown to me that The View was able to have a small segment where Whoopi Goldberg spoke about the impact of criminalization on people living with HIV. That aired on the Awareness Day, and there was an on-air reach of approximately 2.28 million people. And then they posted the segment to their YouTube channel, which has 20,000, that video itself has 20,000 views. The national press release, where folks were quoted and named and links were included, had 191 million potential audience reach. And then it was distributed to at least 1,000 Associated Press outlets. It's one of the things that excited me the most, because I had no idea that Harold Phillips was paying attention, because he's so busy with everything. But HIV.gov listed the Awareness Day on their website. He put out a blog on the website as well. Gilead was able to tweet and retweet to their 70,000 followers. And then one of, I guess, most exciting for me, because we've worked with Representative Barbara Lee since 2011, was that she was supporting the day and shared a Facebook post. And because of that, at that time, 8 more co-sponsors, were added on to the Repeal Act, giving at that time a number of 48. I think we're at 51 now. I hope we have more than that, but that's the last number I remember hearing. So listening to that and knowing that that's solely just Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, and we're not even looking at the retweets from Sarah, the retweets from our Health Not Prisons collective partners, and the retweets from our other stakeholders, I think that's a pretty huge impact, in my opinion. So what's next? How do we go onward? How do we move forward? At this point, a toolkit is being created. An outline of it is being created, and really want to have community input into this. So much can be accomplished when it's not just living in one person's brain. So one thing I would like to ask of folks in this space and beyond to please share this out, that come February 28th, next year, if between now and then, if you're thinking of having an event, whether that's having your local or state government do a proclamation declaring that day, February 28th, being an HIV is Not a Crime Awareness Day in your state or your city, whether it's tabling at your state capitol, or if someone's having like a town hall forum, because elections are coming up after this election, then we'll have our presidential one, and there might be opportunities to table at different events and raise this issue as a political issue, and kind of hold candidates accountable to where they stand on decriminalizing HIV. Also, the toolkit, as we're drafting it, can be designed to talk to legislators and other key stakeholders. Your event can be an HIV is Not a Crime 101 or beyond. It doesn't have to just be a 101. Training for folks within your EHE. If you live in an EHE jurisdiction, ending the HIV epidemic jurisdiction, you can offer webinars or in-person trainings for those individuals as well. And those are just some examples, but what I would like for us to be able to do, I'll share this slide deck out within the other slide deck that we're using for this full call, for people to sign up for, whether you're already going to have an event, you can sign up through a link at the top of this slide. If you don't know what your event is going to look like, but you want to like be on a call and brainstorm, I would like to offer a time and date for us to come together and talk about how can you be supported in that awareness day. So here is a doodle poll link with some dates this month, and I think there's a couple dates next month. I want to say a few of them, most of them are in the evening, for us to tailor a toolkit that meets the needs of your state or your area. And if you can identify within a timely manner, like what your event looks like, then we can identify if there's any swag items that we can possibly support you in. There are some things that we already have, but we have a limited amount. So we want to know like who we would be giving this to and how we would be distributing that. And I can talk more about those specifics on that brainstorming call. And then while you're planning and thinking about what your event for the awareness day can look like, you can remember two things. Think about your entire community and who else can be engaged in this work that you maybe haven't engaged with yet. And then remember that this awareness day is strategically positioned between two other very public health focused awareness days, and that you can utilize all three of those events to make a very clear message for your community. So I will stop there because I would love to hear from folks if you have questions or ideas or thoughts, or need clarification on anything I might have skipped because so much lives in my head. So I'll stop there.
Kamaria, this is amazing. I mean, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't know who it's, I don't know who's speaking. You broke up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Wanda.
Hey, Wanda. Okay, thank you. I stopped sharing so I can see
Sorry.
people. No, don't apologize. You're good. You're good. Oh, and I see more people joined. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. You can't see me waving, but I'm waving. This is truly, truly amazing. Long overdue. So I'm really glad that y'all, that who's ever brain this rolled around in and birthed. I'm very grateful for it. But I would like to join a Google poll to brainstorm on how I can do some things here in my community.
Thank you. I'm going to drop the doodle poll link in the chat now, but it'll also be in the slide deck.
Okay. Okay. Will it come in an email?
Yes, we send the recording out. I don't remember how soon after the call we send it. It's once the recording is ready. And then we send the slides and whatnot out. So when you get the slides, the link will be embedded into the slide as well. So it'll be an email.
So it won't be a separate doodle poll thingy. Okay. I just don't want to get lost.
No, I have it here in the chat, and then it's on the slide, so you won't lose it.
Okay.
Is there anyone that has thought of an event or has suggestions for an event for folks that are trying to wrap their head around what it would look like in their state? And while you're thinking about that, I just want to kind of share some context to like from personal experience. So I live in Florida, but the county that I live in is very, very, very red. And I've been doing this work with Zero since I think 2016, roughly 2015, but officially 2016. And I have yet to be able to host any type of educational event in my county. One, I don't feel safe doing it. I have not been able to find a trusted space that will have an audience that I feel is appropriate to share the message with. So I've partnered with folks in the surrounding areas, such as Orlando and Tampa, who have been more welcoming to the conversation. For example, Orlando is called Area 7 in Florida through our Department of Health. And the leaders at the Orange County Department of Health have been very instrumental in making sure that this conversation is uplifted. South Florida kind of happened a long time ago, like in the beginning of us building our coalition in Florida. So Florida has been like incrementally been mobilizing to get people on board to support, and that's beyond legislation. So that's getting our public health folks to start asking questions about what does this look like for providers? What does this look like for our clients to be able to articulate that they may be experiencing criminalization? So in that, I keep thinking of like, how can I use this Awareness Day in a space where I don't feel safe to talk about it? And I'm working on putting together posters because our health departments have like a lobby where there's a bulletin board, and I can put up signs there. Hopefully they won't get torn down. That basically like are the 5 things you should know about criminalization with my contact information. So that's just one thing that I'm going to do. It's not a widespread, huge event, but I will be taking pictures of where it's placed to hold people accountable and ask for it to be in my local health department's newsletter. So I just wanted to share that. If folks are like, well, where I live, I don't know if I can do this. You can. If I can do it, you can do it. So just wanted to put that out there for people. And if there aren't questions or thoughts right now, then I can transition over to our state updates that folks might have. Also want not to put anybody on the spot, but Tammy, am I forgetting anything about the next steps for the Awareness Day?
No, I think the doodle poll is the next step. So you've got it covered. But it would be great to welcome Sheldon and Mike. I don't believe I've ever met Sheldon, so thank you for joining us.
Hi everyone, tapping in. Thank you so much, firstly, for holding this space. Definitely learning a lot. My entry point into the conversation really started off this year, seeing the campaign with the Elizabeth Taylor Foundation. And just to give some background about myself, I'm the Director of Development for Beta Gamma Chi Fraternity Incorporated. And it's a queer affirming fraternity. And every year we host a World AIDS Day event called Code Red. We do a benefit concert. We've done HIV trivia nights, and each year we've held panel discussions varying from the portrayal of HIV within media. And this year, specifically, we're going to be talking about criminalization. And just thank you for inviting me to the space. And I wanted to ask a question. As far as the events go, are we looking to submit events specifically for February 28th, or any event that is around criminalization, the topic?
Yes to both. So if your event happens to be like later in March and it's about criminalization, or it's about the impact of criminalization on women specifically, then you can submit that event. If you're having an event in June, but that's nowhere near the Awareness Day, but it's focused on criminalization, you can also submit that as well. But we are focusing on like the range of time from the beginning of February to the end of March for the Awareness Day. But if you're having an event, we would love to hear about it regardless of when it is.
Perfect. And then also I wanted to lend our newsletter for folk who may not be able to put on events themselves for safety reasons. Just offering our newsletter as a way to get messages out to our overall membership and constituents as well, if that can help in mobilization as well.
Is awesome. Sheldon, thank you for sharing that. Can you remind us what state you said you were from?
I'm currently in Queens, New York, but my organization is a national organization. So we have members in Florida, Georgia, Texas, California, New York, just naming like major hubs, California. And then we have reached Ohio, and we're expanding to Detroit this year as well. So any way we can help, we're here.
That is awesome to hear. I'm so glad that you made it. Thank you for joining us. I was about to drop the Code Red link in the chat that I read earlier. Is that okay?
Oh, of course. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. We are here to share and support one another. So there's that. And I don't remember who else joined. Oh, Mike. Hey, Mike.
I am so sorry. I had so many tabs open. Oh, it won't let me start my video, so you can't see me. Oh, well, you stuck with just my voice. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. And I'm not new to this. I'm just new to you all. So thank you for having me. Bye.
Well, thank you for joining. Mike forgot to say that they're with the Equality Federation and super supportive to our criminalization reform efforts. So, oh yeah, that part. But thank you for joining us. And Sheldon, again, thank you for sharing the information about your work on a national level. Before we transition over to our state updates, and please don't feel bad if you don't have a state update, because guess what? I don't. So you won't be alone in that. But before we transition, I just one last call for any questions or comments about the HIV is Not a Crime Awareness Day. And
this is Jeremy. I'm going to do an online event. I'm going to ask some of the other council members from the Elizabeth Taylor Foundation if they'll be on it, but Mark King said he would be on it with me. So
that's going to be dope.
I'm going to do it on the 28th, probably at 5 to whatever time it lasts. I'm hoping maybe we can get more council members and give like a 20-minute, because we've all been criminalized around the country. So
right. Thank you for sharing that, Jeremy. And the link for submitting the event is also in the slide deck, and I'll try to remember to when I'm not talking to share that link here. I try to, like, if you're having online events, try to get like a flyer and a registration link done as soon as you can, especially if you know the date. Again, it does not have to be on February 28th, but if you know the date and you know that you have at least the save the date information together, we want to help promote that as well. So my vision is that, when our newsletter goes out, no pressure, Eric, I will help. But when our newsletter goes out, that we can say, here's a list of people having an event in their area around the awareness day. So the sooner you know, the better, which is why the planning call for us to meet and brainstorm on what your event could look like is happening so soon, to give you time to plan and implement. Alicia?
So yeah, hello everyone. I am going to reach out to our National CFAR Chair, Centers for AIDS Research, to see if maybe we can all come together and do an event virtually. As you know, the CFARs are in different states. So I will speak with the chair and see if there's something that maybe we can do.
That sounds amazing. Can you share what CFAR stands for folks who may not know?
Yes, I will put in the chat, Centers for AIDS Research. And just to give a quick synopsis, the CFAR, or Centers for AIDS Research, CABs, the National Community Advisory Boards, we're a national advocacy group, and we provide resources for community involvement in the national CFAR initiatives. So I will put like the PEN CFAR, which is our admin right now, and I will put that information in chat.
Thank you, Alicia. Mike?
Just a quick question. One, I look forward to brainstorming with you all what the Equality Federation can do on HIV is Not a Crime Day. But I'm just very curious, would this be an opportunity? I'm sorry, to a little background. We are a national organization, but we have a network of state partners in 47 different states, with one or two of them having 2 state partners in them. And most of our state partners are LGBTQ-centered advocacy organizations that tend to be statewide. Would there be opportunity, Kamaria, for one of our, like, if there's an event happening in a particular state, for us to be able to flag our state partner to potentially support that event in whatever way that the coalition or organization would find helpful.
I'm gonna say yes. I don't know why I'm confused, but I'm gonna say yes.
You don't want a whole bunch of white gays showing up at an event.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yes. So we could talk more offline so you can give me more clarity. But if it's
Like if there's an event in Texas, can we
Yes.
plug Tent and Equality Texas and be like, hey, this is an event that'd be great to support. Would that be a welcomed invitation?
as long as it's about criminalization
Yeah.
or the
Okay.
intersectionality of it, yes.
Perfect.
I mean, always willing to support, but if it's focused on the where, like, you don't have to submit it to the forum
Yeah.
if it's not related to criminalization, is what I'm saying.
I meant if it's an event already submitted on the form, like if I see a form that someone else submits,
Yes.
like an event that someone else submits, and I would love to flag that event for our state partner to support.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now I'm clear. That's a bold yes with underline. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So just a reminder that the slide deck will be embedded into the state update slide deck, so you can access the doodle poll as well as the submit your event link, and then my contact information as well. So if you have any questions, any clarity, just reach out. So now we're going to switch over to our state updates. Just give me 1 second. Which tab? That's not it. Where'd it go? Sorry, I think I closed it. Give me just a second. I did close it. Why would I do that?
Tab hell is what creates chaos.
Yes, and I didn't close it. I was actually open another window, which I try not to do. Windows are tricky. Okay, so now we're going to get back to here. Go back to slideshow. Wait, slideshow. Go back to Zoom because y'all can't see that. I have not clicked share screen yet. And here we go. Okay, is there anybody on from Alabama? And remember, now that I'm sharing screen, I cannot see you. So I will run through this because I know we don't have that many people on. I'll run through the states kind of quickly. Alaska, no. Arizona, Arkansas, sorry. Is anyone from Arkansas on? California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida. Don't have an update necessarily, but working on, we had a few tropical storms or hurricanes come through. We were planning a statewide educational summit on HIV criminalization, working with our stakeholders. Prior to knowing about the storms coming, we had moved the date to next year instead of this year. So I'll have more information about that once we actually finalize our venue. Oh, there it is. That was the original date, but that's definitely not happening. So Georgia. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. I don't think Georgia has any updates right now.
I will say for Georgia, just because I reside here, don't necessarily work with the Georgia HIV Justice Coalition, but just updated news around Eric Polk is leaving Georgia Equality this month and just made that announcement today publicly. So I just want to reflect that on this call. Thank you. Over.
Thank you, Cedric, and congrats to Eric on your next chapter in your career. So thanks for sharing that. Hawaii. We really need to build a coalition in Hawaii. I don't even know if they have laws. I'm just saying because I want to go there. Like, I think HIV not a crime 6 should be in Hawaii. All right, Idaho.
Hi, everybody. So Kevin Lesh here in Pocatello. What we are doing right now is we have decided to host a meet and greet October 27th from 5:30 to 7 for Idaho District 28 candidates. The Senate candidate is James Recty. The two folks running for the House seats under James are Mary Shea and Nate Roberts. And James should win, but you never want to take that for granted. He has had me start doing static displays in our State House rotunda. Mainly, he sends people down to talk to me that he thinks might be a good Republican sponsor for the criminalization bill here in Idaho. And I have scheduled another static display on the first floor Capitol Rotunda at our state capitol in Boise for February 28th, 2023 on HIV is Not a Crime Awareness Day. And that's what's going on in Idaho right now.
Thank you for that, Kevin. And if I have not told you before, like your static display is another piece of inspiration behind the Awareness Day. I've been to many capitals and I've always wondered like how we can make this more HIV criminalization focused. And you doing your static display in Idaho has contributed to this. So thank you for that. Are there any questions for Kevin? Okay. Next is Illinois, which we don't have on the slide because we try to update our slides if a state repealed or reformed. So we need to update if they repealed their laws on this one. Indiana.
Hi, everyone. Eric with HMM and Sero. So I've got my HMM hat on. We're continuing our outreach and our tabling efforts around the state. This past weekend was the Indiana Annual Recovery Month Symposium, and we tabled there. We're tabling at the Indiana Latin Expo. We have planned as part of a festival called Spirit in Place. We're hosting what's called a Trail Talk at the Phoenix Theater, which is a theater and cultural center. Mark Hughes and Dr. Carey will be the panelists. The discussion will be moderated by Terrell, I think his last name is Parker. And in conjunction with that, we'll have artwork that will be featured by two amazing artists, both living with HIV. So that will happen, I think it's mid-November. What else? Dr. Carey is currently at the Indiana Criminal Justice Association State Conference in Muncie, Indiana. She was a keynote speaker. I believe she spoke today. She and one of our members, Bretton McQuarrie, are going to present Ending the Criminalization of People Living with HIV at Indiana University Bloomington, in case you don't know that one. They're having an AIDS memorial quilt event. They'll have several panels of the quilt there, and it's a weekend-long celebration. So I believe we'll also have a table there. And then finally, our big news, the interim study session that happened in August seems to have paid off. The committee met and will recommend modernizing Indiana's HIV laws. There's a news story there. It doesn't mean they're going to change anything or take what our recommendations are. However, they're strongly considering reforming our laws. So a panel tasked with reviewing the state's criminal code voted unanimously on Tuesday to recommend lawmakers scrap most of the state's penalties concerning people who live with HIV. And then there's a link to the news story about the discussion that was made. So we got our claws in the ground. We're making some traction. So hopefully it will pay off in January.
Thank you so much for that, Eric. And I'm going to be excited and grateful and celebrate in advance, because that last little mic drop you did, that's a huge step for all the work that the advocates in Indiana have poured into making this happen. And I also just want to uplift that when I was talking about the Awareness Day, and I was saying like folks should engage with other other stakeholders besides legislators. Dr. Carrie Foote is like a walking example of that as well. So being like at the Criminal Justice Association state conference, look into like what your state has for different various associations, like your state public health association. Every single state has one. I'm working on a list right now of like who's had their events already, or when do they have their annual statewide event. Florida just had theirs, and I was able to table at that event, and hopefully next year I'll be able to present. But looking into spaces like that where you can offer to present or be invited as the keynote, kind of put your foot in the door. Like, don't wait for the invitation, just put your foot in the door and expand your opportunities to network. So thank you for sharing that, Eric. Are there any questions for Eric about Indiana?
Yeah, some of the things that we've been trying to do now that we have like a stronger group of advocates in Indiana after our training, we've been trying to find places to get invited to that aren't necessarily traditional. So yeah, we did all the prides, but we're also working with Prosecutors Association, Criminal Justice Association. So if you can get your foot in the door into places like that have a stake in that side of the game, and you can hopefully make some leeway with them to support you, thumbs up if you can do that.
Thank you, Eric. Oh, okay. Iowa.
So usually I say we're not doing anything right now until the crazy changes. However, we just had a meeting with our community planning group, and Chain is going to partner with the Harm Reduction Coalition to start rebuilding relationships with legislators at the Capitol. We have lost a lot of our legislative champions. They either didn't run for re-election or got other positions and that. So we haven't built up any, we've lost a lot of those relationships that we had when we modernized our law. So we're just going to start rebuilding them.
Thank you for that, Tammy. Are there any questions for Tammy about Iowa?
I have a quick question for Mario, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Tammy, would it be appropriate? Would you consider One Iowa as a good coalition partner as you re-engage folks?
Oh my gosh, yes, yes. Love One Iowa.
And would it be helpful to help connect, or you already have a connection there?
I do. I know Keenan well. So I'm actually needing to share the doodle poll with him.
Okay.
So yep.
Perfection.
And it's always appropriate to network and offer national partners. So thank you for that, Mike. Any other questions? All right. Kansas. Oops, sorry, Kentucky. Oh, wait, was someone off mute to say something about Kansas or Kentucky? Okay. Louisiana, I don't think we have anybody on from Louisiana. And I unfortunately have not been on a Louisiana call. Tammy, is there anything significant we need to uplift?
Not that I can think of. I didn't join the last call either because of Tennessee and Louisiana being at the same time now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think so. They did hire a community organizer. And I do know that, but I think that's the latest update for them.
Right, and they're strengthening like the structure of their coalitions so that they can be more impactful in their state. That was the only thing I was going to add as well. So thank you, Tammy. Where did my mouse go? Okay, Maine, Maryland. We don't have Maryland on tonight. No, Massachusetts. Nope. Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi. I know Mississippi had an event right after Positive Living last month, but I was not able to attend, so I have no information about that. But hopefully someone from their network can send a link or something that we can maybe throw into the slide deck before we send out the recording and whatnot before our next call. Missouri. Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina.
Nothing going on in North Carolina that I have seen or heard of lately, unless my other North Carolinian family who is on here has any updates. Oh,
Me
no.
either, Alicia.
Okay, cool.
Nothing that I know of, Alicia.
I guess no news is good news. Kind
Well,
of.
we can stir it up.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia and everyone. North Dakota, Ohio. I always get a little sad when I get to Ohio slide because we were supposed to have HIV is Not a Crime Training Academy at their university and we had to go virtual because of COVID. So I always have a special place in my heart for Ohio. Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania.
Okay, thank you. And I feel the same way about Ohio when I see Ohio. I do. I'm here representing the Pennsylvania HIV Justice Alliance. And the next slide. We have a lot at stake right now in the upcoming election in PA. There's a big governor's race, one US Senate seat. And if Shapiro gets the governor, we will be then looking at a new attorney general. HP 103, which is a new spitting bill, resurfaced and is in the Pennsylvania Senate Appropriation Committee. Rapid response, we're in progress right now. It is amending, it's suggesting that they remove HIV and Hep B, but the communicable disease remains, and it's still a terrible, terrible bill. So we're really working around the clock right now with all the different stakeholders. The Pennsylvania HIV Justice Alliance has been educating the Pennsylvania HIV Planning Group and the PA Board of Health, and we've got priorities of HIV criminalization reform into the new PA integrated HIV prevention and care plan for 2022 and 2026. But lots more to be done. And then a little shout out to PWN Pennsylvania. Their phone banking and canvassing nonpartisan issues based on voter engagement. And they're focusing on the ID voters supporting abortion access. So there's a lot going on in Pennsylvania right now.
Yeah, wow. Thank you. Thank you, Cindy, for that. I can't believe spitting bills are still a thing. Like that's.
Well, I think it's geared more, and it's also geared towards, protesters.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a ridiculous bill. If you look around, I mean, there's a lot of protection already. And I think it started with somebody, a police officer saying that somebody spit at him and they had COVID. And so he wasn't wearing any protection or whatever, but that's how it began. That's how it started. Just that's what it started.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah.
And this is why we gather and do this work. Are there any questions about Pennsylvania for Cindy? Okay. Thank you for that update. Oh, okay. Puerto Rico. We usually do have someone on our call from Puerto Rico. I don't think we have anyone today, but I'm wondering who all on this call will be in Puerto Rico for the USCHA. If y'all can either drop it in the chat. Just curious. If you'll be there, I'll see you somewhere. And there'll be a few, well, I was gonna say, never mind, because I don't know if someone else is gonna say it, so I'll wait. And if you don't, then I'll say it at the end. Rhode Island, South Carolina. Oh, wait, sorry. Is there anyone on from South Carolina? I get my Carolinas mixed up and forget who lives there. South Dakota, Tennessee. Okay. Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia.
Good evening, everybody. This is Cedric. Sorry, I'm like literally multitasking, still working for these early meetings tomorrow. What Virginia has been up to is really preparing to be the host committee of HINAC 5, and also still doing a lot of educational outreach meetings with organizations that were somewhat not involved prior to us reforming and modernizing the HIV criminal laws or the infected sexual battery law in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And those meetings continue as we kind of gather new like-minded partners. And yeah, just a lot of planning to make sure HINAC 5 is the, best kind of place that we can make it in a state that's for lovers in Virginia. So that's really the work that we've been putting in. And unfortunately, I think the middle or end of August, one of our coalition members that has been one of our greatest champions at the Virginia Department of Health resigned from her position. Diana Jordan, she was also our NASDAQ state member. I have not been able to get in touch with her, but me and Deidre are definitely working to do that, to figure out what's going on. I mean, this new political climate is a very monstrous disaster, and it's going to only get worse. And so we, just like this earlier this year in the legislative session, we've been monitoring any bill introduced, brought to the table in regards to public health, HIV, sexual health, anything, even if just sex or whatever, we've been monitoring. We monitored that in the earlier part of the year, and we plan to do the same for next year. We're still taking the temperature, and the temperature is pretty bad thus far, to figure out how we want to work on phase 2 of our work in regards to lowering the sentencing on the current modernized law, and also any kind of future efforts of potential repeal for the Commonwealth of Virginia. So a lot of things are kind of long down the road just because of the climate. Just so background, like the governor Glenn Youngkin made the Virginia Department of Health State Health Commissioner, who he appointed, remove all elements of racism as a public health threat in a state from Virginia Department of Health and all of the local and county health departments. There have been attacks on the Office of Health Equity in the Virginia Department of Health about potential closure, maybe temporary or permanent, and it's just been very chaotic. And so with this political reality, and this slide is so cognizant of the real mess that is happening. We just been taking ourselves more of a silent back corner and watching everything that we can as we press forward. But that's the update for Virginia. And also, I wanted to, in a sense of what Kamaria mentioned for the USCHA attendees, there will be a convening this coming Sunday for those that are in the HIV criminalization movement work in their respective states. And so again, I think the people that I saw comment in the chat box received the registration link. But if you are going and didn't respond, please let me know so that we can be sure to get you that link. Any questions, let me know. Thank you so much, Kamaria.
Oh, thank you, Cedric. And I love that you are a mind reader because you knew what I was going to say. So, and that's why I stopped myself. I didn't want to steal your thunder.
Oh, thank you. It's all good. This is a shared effort.
Yes, it is. I did have a question for you. You mentioned something around the current, your former ally in the public health department had a role with NASDAQ somewhere.
She was our Virginia State member for NASDAQ. She was the chief of our disease intervention and strategic development office at VDH in Richmond. And so, yeah, Diana Jordan was our NASDAQ member. But yeah, her resigning, I'm assuming that someone kind of, I don't know how NASDAQ structure works. Like if you leave that role, you automatically leave your NASDAQ position, but that's my assumption.
Okay, so that's my question. Like, does every state have a NASDAQ representative? That's
Yes.
through the health,
Every
through
state,
the health department.
Yeah, every single state should have a NASDAQ representative that attends the annual meeting. Sometimes they become like a part of the board with the NASDAQ structure. Not the board of NASDAQ, the org, but like the board of that NASDAQ structure. Because I know Marlene McNeese was on at one point. But yeah, so every state does have a rep at NASDAQ from their health department.
Fantastic to know. I did not realize that. I'm just now really understanding I'm learning more about, I don't quite understand it, but I'm learning more about the structure around NASDAQ, and they are one of our national supporters as far as like wanting to change these laws around criminalization. So I was asking that because I want to encourage folks to identify who that person is at your health department. If you have been having challenges with getting an ally from the health department, remind them of that, that NASDAQ has been supportive of these reform efforts and they need to get on deck. So thank you.
I'm gonna put it in the chat. It should be updated. But yeah, I'm gonna put that in the chat right now for you all.
Perfection. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But we still have, just FYI for folks in the recording, we do have a very long-term advocate that has, and I just saw the member directory for NASDAQ that did take her place. So we do have someone in the inside still, thankfully, in Virginia for ECHO VA coalition work. So I'm done now. Thank you.
No, thank you, Cedric. All right, just a few more states to go. Washington State. Oops, West Virginia. Wisconsin. I will say I met someone at Positive Living that wants to build a network within their state. So hopefully they'll be on our next community conversation call, sharing what the building of that looks like. Wyoming. And that is all. Are there any questions about anything that's been discussed tonight, criminalization in general, that maybe you're curious about that wasn't uplifted, that you need clarity on? And are there any announcements that anyone wants to make? Oh, I have. So HIV is not a crime. Wait, are there any ambassadors on, Eric? No? Okay. So HIV is, oh, my camera's off. HIV is not a crime. Has opportunities for folks to, wow. get a scholarship. And there is an art contest, which is one of those ways. And the art contest closes October 14th. And we're looking for visual art, like sculpture, but we want a picture. We don't want you to send us a sculpture. I do not want to be responsible for your beautiful art piece. So visual art, written and spoken word. So there's a link that hopefully somebody will drop in the chat that that includes opportunities for you to be able to upload a file of your art themed around HIV criminalization, the intersectionality of criminalization and how it impacts people living with HIV. And that is not the link, so please disregard. And there we are. So again, the application for the HIV is Not a Crime art contest closes October 14th. Then there will be winners announced sometime before December 6th. Or on December 6th, I can't quite remember. And there'll be 3 winners, hopefully. A winner from each category will win a scholarship to HIV is Not a Crime Training Academy. And yes, so stick people can be accepted. Like, if art is art, so if it speaks to your soul and you can explain it with like your what is it called, an artist statement, if you can justify your stick figure, because I think I've seen stick figure arts. I had a shirt that had stick figures on it, and if you remember, I don't know if Keith Haring, if his art was necessarily stick figures, but it was like that very simplified like line drawing. So while I know someone was joking when they said that, I think anything can be submitted that folks can consider abstract. There we go, Eric, as art. And so I see in the chat that a couple folks have announcements. So Cedric, and then Tammy, if you wanted to uplift what you dropped in the chat as well. Cedric?
So I just checked my emails, and I don't know how I missed this, but I submitted an abstract for Creating Change that will be during the great month that HIV is Not a Crime Awareness Day will be in February. And we were accepted this time around. So I will be coordinating with my fellow panelists that we will have an institute on HIV criminalization at Creating Change for what I believe will be the first time at their conference. And I think that is a wonderful space with the National LGBTQ Task Force and how impactful and intersectional this work is. So yay, finally we were accepted.
That is fantastic news. Thank you.
I will keep you
so
posted
much.
on days because I know your anxiety just rose a bit.
Okay, just a smidge.
I will definitely keep you posted, I promise.
Right, sounds good. Actually, it sounds great. Creating Change is a conference I've always heard of, have never had the opportunity to attend. So looking forward to that opportunity, and to have an institute is a big deal. So thank you for that work that you put in for that, Cedric.
Love, over.
Yeah. Tammy?
Yes, so we had 11 days of the Ready, Set, Repeal Act campaign. It was 11 days for 1 day for each year that Representative Barbara Lee has introduced the Repeal Act. Even though those 11 days are over, we are still asking for people to do 2 things. The first one is sign the pledge to fight for the repeal and get updates about the campaign from Health Not Prisons. That link is there. This second is actually the third bullet point is contacting your member of Congress, and we've made it really easy. There's a link there that will take you to a form, an online platform. I think it's Every Action, and you just have to type in your address, and then it'll bring up a letter. You can personalize it and contact your legislator. It's so important. As Kamaria said, our goal was 100 co-sponsors. We have not reached that yet, so we could definitely use your help. And for more information on Ready, Set, Repeal, there's the link to the toolkit as well. So please take those 2 actions, and look at the toolkit.
Thank you for that, Tammy. The Ready, Set, Repeal is it's a huge deal. And like Tammy said, even though the 11 days of action are over, the opportunity to engage with your Congress people is not. So the toolkit really explains everything and makes things really simple. It's just literally clicking on a link and submitting. And if you want to tailor like your messaging to your legislator, you also can do that. So thank you for uplifting that, Tammy. Are there any other announcements or questions?
Yes, earlier you showed a slide for February 2023. Can you either send, will that be sent?
Yeah, I need to, I made a separate slide deck because I forgot that this call has a specific slide deck. So I'm gonna put it, I'm gonna do my job and actually blend them together before I send them out. So yes, they will be shared. If that was your question, they'll be shared. And it'll include, I'll add what Tammy just shared and the link of all the information about the Awareness Day. And Cedric, I don't know if you want the link for the registration to the USCHA dinner.
Oh, is it not? Well, I think most of the, I don't know if there's more.
Yeah,
people.
never mind.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Sorry, because that's happening Sunday and this.
No, you're fine.
I was just trying to like make sure I keep myself on track. So our next community conversation call. Oh, wait, sorry, Kevin S.
Yep. I just wanted to do a quick pitch for the Cerro 10-year anniversary event on December 6th. And I'm going to drop in the chat a link to Memento where you can share a brief video about your experiences with Cerro. Would really appreciate it if you did that. And then if you'll give me a second, I'll drop a second link in where you can buy some 10-year anniversary limited edition Cerro swag because I think it's going fast. I got my order in early and it's some really neat stuff that Eric's designed. And please consider doing a video for the 10-year anniversary event and then go to Bonfire and look at some great hoodies and t-shirts that again, when they're gone, they're gone.
Thank you so much for that, Kevin. I saw Tammy's hand go up too, so I'm wondering if that was the same thing that you were going to say. I hinted to it, but again, stuff lives in my head and I forgot to actually share it with you all. But yeah, Cerro is 10 years old. And I realized this morning that I've been with Cerro for 5 years, I think. No, I think it's been longer than that. But anyway, yeah, we're 10 years old. So please join us in celebrating. Information about how to celebrate with us will go out soon or has already been shared. I think, Eric, I'm so sorry. It has not been shared. But we want to hear from you in the video. If you can please click on the Memento link and share a video congratulating us or whatever your favorite memory is of us about Cerro and us turning 10 this many. So excited. I also forgot to add to what Tammy said that when I forgot what step it is, but when you sign the pledge for Ready, Set, Repeal, you will also receive a sticker. I saw that go out today, right?
Yes, thank you. I forgot to mention the sticker. It's really cool. You want to have that sticker to be with cool kids. Sign that pledge.
Sign the pledge.
Contact your legislators.
If your inner child loves stickers like mine does, because I'm looking at like 3 binders that I have covered in stickers right now. I mean, please don't let that be your only motivation, but if that is the only thing that you need to motivate you, then go for it. But yes, so those are our announcements. I don't know if anyone has anything else. Oh, is it just the shirt or is there other swag? You have to go to the link and find out, Alicia.
I'm there. I only see the t-shirt.
Well, then that's it. It's the shirts and the hoodies.
I was looking around. I'm like, I only see the t-shirt. So Yeah.
So yeah, there's a t-shirt and a hoodie option, 2 different colors available on each item. We just discovered that they don't have every size and every item.
Nope.
So I do apologize if you need a larger size. Some of the colors don't come in larger than 2X. So we just discovered that today.
It's bodily discrimination, but it's all right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I learned that this
I'm a
morning.
big boy. I understand.
It's these manufacturers, I guess, because I wanted a gray in a 3X and it does not come in a 3X. So I'm getting a white one. I hope, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's our swag. And like Kevin said, when it's gone, it's gone. So if you're at HIV is Not a Crime in Virginia and see somebody in a shirt and you're like, where did you get it from? It's going to be too late by then. So please grab your swag now. With that being said, I appreciate you all for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know we're all doing great, amazing things. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. If you have any questions or anything pops up, I mean, anything, well, not anything, anything around HIV criminalization or the work that Sarah does, please reach out to us. And again, thank you and have a great, great evening. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye all.